What's good, my people? Welcome back to AMGM Sports. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Enzo. I'm really happy for you to join me today. Now, a few days ago, I dropped a video actually, and I was talking about Daniel Dubois and his potential rematch with Anthony Joshua. And there's been rumors coming out that basically, it's looking likely that rematch is not going to happen between Dubois and Joshua. Frank Warren came out. He said that, look, Dubois is going to be ready by February. He's ready to go by February. And if Joshua's not ready, that fight is not going to happen. Eddie Hearn, he's kept very quiet about it as well. He hasn't come out and said anything. So all the ramblings, everything is leading towards a no rematch between Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua. A lot of us thought that would be the next fight for Daniel Dubois, but the way things are looking right now, it seems that fight is not going to happen. And to be honest with you, I don't really blame Joshua if it doesn't happen. I don't blame Daniel Dubois. Look, Daniel Dubois proved in that fight in September at Wembley against Anthony Joshua that, listen, he probably has age's number now. Do you know what I mean? And the way, the manner in which he beat Joshua up, knocked him out, I think it was in the 5th round, like, it was incredible. Do you know what I mean? And Daniel Dubois right now is high on confidence. And he knows, in his mind, he's thinking, you know what, a rematch against Anthony Joshua, I'm just going to destroy him again. Do you know what I mean? And Anthony Joshua as well, there must be some doubt there, innit? The fact that these rumors are coming out. It looks like the rematch is not going to happen against Daniel Dubois. And Anthony Joshua's been quiet about it, hasn't said anything. You know what I mean? Listen, there's no smoke without fire, ain't it? It's looking like that there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. And in the last few days, as also the IBF have granted permission to Daniel Dubois to voluntarily defend his IBF title against anyone in the top 15. And that's interesting. That's actually interesting because there's some great matchups there for Daniel Dubois if he chooses to take them on. We're talking here if the rematch against Anthony Joshua doesn't happen for Daniel Dubois as his next fight. But I was just like looking at that top 15 here. There's some fighters in there. Don't forget, there's Martin Bakole, Joseph Parker. He won't be in the top 15, funny enough, because as he's got a belt, he's actually the WBO interim world champion. So because he's got a belt, he's not ranked in that top 15. So he wouldn't be an option for Daniel Dubois. That's a shame because I wanted to see that fight. I would love to see that fight between Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois, because Joseph Parker, he's on a great run at the moment. Do you know what I mean? He beat Deontay Wilder in a fight that everyone thought he's gonna lose. He actually did really well, put the pressure on Wilder, and actually he was gonna knock Wilder out in the 12th round, sorry. And again, Joseph Parker went up against Zhilei Zhang. He got knocked down early, but again, came back, showed great resilience, great heart. You know what I mean? He came back and he beat Zhilei Zhang in a unanimous decision. So Joseph Parker right now, he's gained some traction, man. Do you know what I mean? He's in great form. He's on a roll. And that fight between him and Daniel Dubois will be very interesting. But unfortunately, he can't face Daniel Dubois because he has a belt. What a shame. What a great shame. That's a great fight. I'm sure we're gonna see somewhere in the future, you know what I mean, where Joseph Parker is going to challenge Daniel Dubois for that belt, because at the end of the day, they're both under Frank Warren, Queensbury promotion. So I have no doubt that fight will happen in the near future. It's just a shame that we can't see it next. But what are the options for the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel the Dynamite Dubois? There's some great options in there. If we look at the heavyweight ranking, if we look at it, in that top 15, there's a lot of names in there. There's a few names that a lot of you guys are familiar with, and there's some names that we don't really know about, even including myself. Some of these fighters in that top 15 list, I don't really know them. Some of the obvious names, the big names in there that stand out, that are, household names that are, easily recognized. You go Zhilei Zhang. He's at number 2 at the moment. You go Martin Bakole, You go Kabayao. You've got Huni. He's from New Zealand, actually. I didn't know a lot about this guy, actually, Huni. From New Zealand. He's 10-0. I just wonder, has he got the experience with 10 fights to go against Daniel Dubois, who's got so much experience right now? Do you know what I mean? And Daniel Dubois, look at the caliber of fights. He's been beating Miller. He beat Hergovich. He beat Joshua. So, Daniel Dubois right now, he's the main guy at the moment in the heavyweight division, after Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury. In terms of the top 15, you've got Moses Atoma there. Again, Moses Atoma, he's promoted by Frank Warren. So that could be interesting, 10-0. But I don't think Frank Warren is going to put Moses Atoma against Daniel Dubois just yet. I think it's a bit too early. Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley, he's ranked at number 7. Now, that'll be interesting. Fabio Wardley's had what? It's 18 fights, 1 draw. Now, some people say, some people might say he needs a bit more experience. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I mean, he had that war against Fraser Clark at the start of the year in March. But, the rematch, we saw what he done to Fraser Clark. Knocked him out, one of the most vicious knockouts, I've ever seen, in the heavyweight division. That was nasty. That was nasty. You know what I mean? He left a dent on the left side of Fraser Clark's head. So that was a vicious one. I think Fabio Wardley will be a great fight, actually, with Daniel Dubois. Look, Fabio Wardley's got a chin on him. He's tough. He comes to fight. Although he has a limited, amateur background. Has he even got an amateur background? I don't think so. But he comes to fight. He can swing. He's a heavy hitter, man. That right hand of his is solid. Him and Daniel Dubois, I think that's gonna be a great fight. That's a great matchup, man. I've seen online some people dismissing Wardley, saying that he needs more experience. Can he hang in there with a Daniel Dubois? Listen, I think he can. In my opinion, I think he can. I think he's ready. Why not? He's had those wars. I think he's confident enough. I think, he's got something about him, Fabio Wardley. Do you know what I mean? He's just, when you watch his fights, you're going to get war. It's going to be a great fight. So him and Daniel Dubois, man, listen, that's not a bad fight, man. That's not a bad fight at all, man. I said make that happen. Now, whether Frank Warren, he's a promoter for Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley, whether he's going to want to put Fabio Wardley in there right now against Daniel Dubois, maybe not. Maybe not. But listen, it wouldn't be a bad fight. And I wouldn't dismiss Fabio Wardley the way some other people are trying to dismiss him and say he's not ready. Because listen, Daniel Dubois right now is on a run. He is the main guy right now. They're calling him the King Slayer because he defeated Joshua. So, but Daniel Dubois has lost twice, man. There is some vulnerabilities there with Daniel Dubois. I wouldn't say he's got a glass chin, but it has been dropped a few times. It has been dropped a few times. And listen, if you go in a ring against a Fabio Wardley, listen, that right hand, we've seen what he done to Fraser Clark. If he cracks Daniel Dubois, listen, Daniel Dubois could go to sleep. So that's not an easy fight. That is not an easy fight. For Daniel Dubois, especially looking at this heavyweight ranking, the top 15, he has to. There has to be some balancing act here. Now it's a voluntary defense. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to take it. It's a voluntary one. He's like, if he wants to keep himself busy while he waits, for the Usyk. Also obviously, look, we have to wait for what happens between Usyk and Alexander. We have to wait for what happens between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury on the 21st of December in Riyadh. Once that's cleared up, once we know the winner from that, the dust was settled, we can see where the landscape is right now. We have a better overview of it. But Daniel Dubois, he wants to get back in the ring February. So it won't be Fury or Usyk, whichever one of those guys comes out as the winner. That's going to be in the summer. You're looking at June, July, probably. Maybe the earliest will be May. So Daniel Dubois, this voluntary defense is all about keeping him busy. But there has to be some balancing act here where the guy that he fights here, it has to be someone that is got a solid record. Yeah, obviously, look, a lot of them here are 10-0, 18-0. So it has to be someone where how can I say? How can I put this? It has to be someone that is ranked fairly high. Yeah, you can't go all the way down to number 15 and pick number 15 or pick number 14. I think for me personally, it has to pick someone that's in the top 10, someone that's a name that stands out. That the public, yeah, especially the boxing fans, yeah, will have an interest in. Do you know what I mean? Someone that will get our juices flowing, where our interest will be there, where we want, it makes us want to watch the fight. It can't be someone where we don't know about, and people don't pay attention to them. As the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois has to fight a name. Now, if I'm looking at that top 10, I've mentioned a few names: Bakole, Zhilei, Zhang, Kabayao. Now, Kabayao and Bakole, I think there's a purse bid going on. So these two are gonna go, they're gonna clash, they're gonna go head to head for the eliminator. So Kabayao and Martin Bakole, you can almost brush them aside. Daniel Dubois is not going to fight either of those guys. They're going to have an eliminator. He's probably going to have to fight them at some point for his belt. So forget Martin Bakole, forget Caballero. We go down that list. Anthony Joshua has actually dropped to number 7. Whoa. Whoa, how the world has changed, man. Damn, things change quickly in boxing, man. Anthony Joshua, number 7. You go Filip Hrgovic at number 8. Obviously, Daniel Dubois has already defeated Filip Hrgovic, so it won't be him. You go, like I mentioned already, Fabio Wardley. He's a number 9. I want to see that fight. I think in that top 10, I think that's the most enticing fight. That's the one that really interests me. That's the one that I'll be sitting down and thinking, whoa, this is interesting here. It could go either way here. I don't think Daniel Dubois goes in there and wipes the floor Wardley, because Wardley, yeah, he's no mug. Do you know what I mean? He's a warrior. He's going to come in there, he's going to give you everything. And with that right hand in heavyweight division, you know how it is, man. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? You get cracked on the chin, all of a sudden it's night-night. So Wardley that'll be a British clash. That'll do really well. Pay-per-views, they can even do that at Wembley. I think that would be big. Do you know what I mean? Or do it at the O2, but that would do numbers. That would be a very interesting fight, especially that both guys are British, both guys promoted by Frank Warren, as I mentioned before. Now, there's a guy at number 10, a Nigerian guy called Ajagba. Now, he fights in America. Do you know what I mean? He lives in America, but he's a Nigerian guy. He's 120, and he's lost one. He's a heavy hitter, man. He can crack, man. He's been fighting solid competition. I haven't watched him a lot, but look, I've watched some of his highlights. He looks solid. It looks solid. That could be a potential banana skin. I think the guy is 6'6". That could be a potential banana skin for Daniel Dubois. Whether he'll take Agjaba, I'm not too sure. And whether the British public, we don't really know Agjaba that well, because we haven't really seen him fight in the UK. So the British boxing probably don't really know him that well. So looking at that top 10, I know he has to pick from the top 15, but just looking at the top 10, for me, the name that stand out is Zhilei Zhang, Fabio Wardley. Will Daniel Dubois fight Zhilei Zhang? Now, Zhilei Zhang is another one who is part of Frank Warren's Queensberry stable. Frank Warren right now, he's the man, innit? He's got all these guys, under his stable. He's promoting Joseph Parker, Tyson Fury, Fabio Wardley. He's got Daniel Dubois, Zhilei Zhang. Damn. What the hell has happened to Eddie Hearn, man? Eddie Hearn, I remember a couple years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, Eddie Hearn had all the fighters. Now it's Frank Warren. He's back on top, innit? Damn. Zhilei Zhang is ranked number 4. That'll be a good fight against Daniel Dubois. Now, he's a southpaw, so he'll present a lot of problems for Daniel Dubois. Do you know what I mean? My only problem with Zhilei Zhang is that his age as well. I think he's 40 years old now. He does tend to slow down, as the fight goes on. I watched him against Joseph Parker, and he knocked down Joseph Parker early. But as the rounds went on, from round 6 and onwards, Parker applied that pressure, and Zhilei Zhang just couldn't match it. Do you know what I mean? His cardio went off. He slowed down. Like the drop off from round 1 to round 6. Yeah. After that, the drop off like is crazy. He just slows down, and he doesn't carry that power anymore after round 6. So I give him a chance against Daniel Dubois early on when he's fresh, especially the way Daniel Dubois starts so fast. Zhilei Zhang can definitely catch Daniel Dubois early. But my worry for Zhilei Zhang is Once we go past the sixth, he just doesn't maintain that intensity. Do you know what I mean? The levels drop off, and I think that's when Daniel Dubois can really hurt him. Do you know what I mean? Especially if Daniel Dubois paces himself as well. He will really. I see a Daniel Dubois stoppage there late on against Zhilei Zhang, just because Zhilei Zhang slows down. And we know Daniel Dubois, listen, he's improved immensely. You know what I mean? Especially that fight he had against Baby Miller. He did really well. Daniel Dubois did really well. Like, Gerard, what's his name? Baby Miller was trying to slow him down the whole time. He was taking shots from Daniel Dubois. In thinking that later on down the round, like in the later rounds, Daniel Dubois slowed down, then he can put a pace on and knock Daniel Dubois down. But nah, Daniel Dubois kept that pressure on the whole fight, even though he did slow down a bit, but he still kept his composure, and of course he finished. Baby Miller himself in the 12th round. So interesting. Zhilei Zhang is one of the big names. Again, they'll get the numbers in. Fabio Wardley will get the numbers in for Daniel Dubois. If we go a bit further down that list, another name that really stands out is Gerard Baby Anderson. Again, he lost. On his last fight against Martin Bakole. Gerard Anderson actually went into that fight as the favorite. A lot of people didn't give Bakole, a chance. They thought, Gerard Anderson is the next best thing. He's the bigger name, in that heavyweight division. He's American, he's up and coming, he had a lot of hype behind him, but Bakole dealt with him and knocked him out. So, his stock, Gerard Anderson, his stock is gone down, but he's still young. 17-1, he's still young. He's 27 years old. So he's still young. He can make adjustments and come back. Do I see Daniel Dubois fighting him? I don't really see it. I don't really see it, especially Gerard Anderson coming off that defeat. I don't really see it. I think Daniel Dubois, if he's going to defend, it has to be with someone who's on a winning streak themselves. And the only ones that I see there, you go Fabio Wardley, he's won his last fight. He's looking good. He knocked out Fraser Clark. And you go Zhilei Zhang, who knocked out Deontay Wilder. So for me, if Daniel Dubois is going to take this voluntary defense, it has to be against Zhilei Zhang or Fabio Wardley. I think that's going to generate interest with the boxing fans. Do you know what I mean? They're going to do decent pay-per-view numbers. And it's going to be a big test for Daniel Dubois. And if he wants to stay busy, you know what I mean? But get a big name on his CV. He's already got Joshua. He's got Baby Miller. He's got Filip Hrgovic. Why not get, it's got Anthony Joshua, let me not forget. Why not add Zhilei Zhang, to that list? That's a big name in the heavyweight division. Fabio Wardley, up and coming, 18, he's won 18, he's undefeated at the moment. He can crack, he's British as well. That's going to generate interest in Britain. So why not, man? Come here, Daniel Dubois. Give us an interesting fight. Do you know what I mean? Don't be one of those champions, them guys that, when you got nothing to lose, you go all out, lever, you're strong, you're cracking, you're beating everyone up, and then all of a sudden you become champion. You develop that champion syndrome. Do you know what I mean? Where you start picking and choosing, you pick easy options. Nah, man, keep that same energy. You know what I mean? You wanted to fight the big boys, but keep that same energy. Do you know what I mean? Go for someone, do you know what I mean, in the heavyweight division who can crack, who's strong, who's gonna come and give you some problems as well. Do you know what I mean? Don't just take the easy route. But that's me, man. That's my list there. Looking at in the heavyweight division. Let me know, what you think. Comment below. Drop a name in that heavyweight division. The top 15 ranked fighters. Who would you like to see Daniel Dubois fight next as his voluntary defense? Let me know in the comments, man. Let's have that conversation. I'll really appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that. It's going to be interesting to see who Daniel Dubois picks to defend his title against as a voluntary. That's if he doesn't take the rematch against Anthony Joshua. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. You're really going to help the channel to grow. Thank you very much for watching EMGM Sports. I'm your boy Enzo. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.